Welcome to Talk of the Town this week right here on C19 TV. Tim Foster along with you. So great to have you along. Man, we got a great show today because we're going to be talking about Eskridge Grove Baptist Church. And we've got a couple of very important people as some big changes are going on over there. So great to have Reverend Strickland Maddox with us today from Eskridge Grove Baptist Church. And a guy I know pretty well, Jimmy Hall, who handles communication director with Eskridge Grove Baptist Church. Gentlemen, welcome to Talk of the Town.
Thank you.
So great to have you. So the big news is you guys are going to be moving into a new church home here, and you've actually been in there some already now that we're heading into mid-September. But Reverend, I'm going to start with you before we talk about a big event that you've got coming up right around the corner and your new church home and what all that will entail and kind of the history of that. Give us a little bit, because you've been a Reverend there, you were telling me about 22 years before we started.
Right.
Give me a little bit of the history of the church, because it is a very historic church in Cleveland County. Talk a little bit about the history of the church, Reverend.
Okay, well, Tim, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for allowing us to come in. And,
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you considering us. But yes, the church was started in 1890.
Wow.
And it was a group of people who came together to study the Bible. And then by 1893, they started meeting as a church, and which time they had gotten a piece of land given to them, or well, we're not really sure how they got the land.
Yeah.
But you know,
because we're going back a few years here.
Yeah, and there's a couple of different histories you can hear.
Exactly.
You know, so, but anyway, somebody wife died, and they needed a place to bury her, and so they were donated a piece of land, actually where we are now, and so we've come from there. The current building we're in was built in 1950. I'm sorry.
That was my next question. So the current church facility that you have been in, gosh, now almost 70 some odd years, 80 some odd years now and we'll be talking about your new building, which many people have seen on Washington Switch Road. You're saying 1950 is 1950. That current building? Yeah.
Yes, and it was kind of funny. The history tells us that we had $5,000, and with a lot of help from all the congregation building and stuff, that they started that church. And they completed it when I think it was George Blanton that actually helped us finish it. And so that's pretty much how we've been going. When I got there, which was in 2000, I got there in 2000 as an interim.
Okay.
And next year I was voted in as pastor. But when I got there, there was always rumblings about we needed to build a new building.
Yeah.
There were, we didn't have the facilities that we needed, as far as Sunday school rooms and bathrooms, and all of our bathrooms were on the bottom floor, and so that made it very inconvenient. And so everybody was always wanting a new building, and the plans were we owned a piece of land across from the railroad track.
Yeah.
And the plan was to build over there, but a lot of people didn't want to go across the tracks because the train would come and stop, and we couldn't get across the track, and they wouldn't give us another crossing. So.
Yeah, and that could be, if you're heading for a service and you are getting there and the train comes, you might be a little late. They may just barely get in there to hear your sermon, Reverend. That could have been a problem. I'm being funny on that, but I can kind of see their ideas on that. Yeah.
I think our major concern was, what if we'd had an emergency over there and couldn't get over there to get people out? And we used to have picnics and things over there, and the trains would come, and we'd have to run up the tracks to get someone to break the train for us so that we could get out. And so the dream was always there to get a new facility, but like I said, we couldn't decide on going across the track or not. Some people said we were going to make a graveyard, but no, that's not what it's designed for.
Right.
So after that, and I guess it's been about 5, 6 years ago when the state started building the highway. And
Yeah, the bypass, right?
yeah, the bypass was coming, and it was actually taking most of our parking.
I remember hearing about that, and I had heard that I didn't know how much it would take, but I knew the parking. And you know, I've come through there many times on Sunday mornings when I've been going to you know, another church or another location, and you guys are usually packed.
Well,
and I wondered how that was going to affect with the bypass. Yeah,
Well, it really affected our attendance. Because people would think, well, we ain't gonna have nowhere to park when we get there.
yeah,
And so after a lot of haggling with the state and stuff, we finally decided that we'd sell them that land. Of course, we didn't have to decide; they'd already decided we were gonna sell it to
well,
them.
yeah, I'm sure that was a big portion of it. Yeah,
So that time we were looking for a place to go.
yeah,
We
and that's kind of how the process started.
Yeah, that's how the process started. We looked all over that area up there, even on 226, and made an offer or two on different parcels of land, and it never did go through. And in the meantime, we had our eye on that piece of property that we got, but we had went to the Blantons, and they said that they were not selling any of that land. That land was not for sale. So we left them and started looking some more, and then about 2 years later, we decided, well, let's go back and see what the Blantons say. By this time, their trustees had changed,
Sure.
and so they said, well, how much land do you want? We really didn't know, but we threw out 15 acres. And they said, okay, where you want it at? They said, you know, you pay us market value.
Sure.
And so that's essentially how we got where we are, and they decided to sell us that property. So we started planning on a building.
Wow. Well, I'm going to move over to Jimmy, being obviously a member of the congregation and communication specialist there. And Jimmy, obviously, as a member, I know me and you, because you were a former student
Right.
within our program. And of course, Jimmy's got his podcast as well that he does. And but Jimmy, talk about it for you and your family. Talk about this process. I mean, obviously, you had talked about it. Parking was going
Right.
to become scarce.
Right.
You knew a move was going to happen, but you kind of put it in the Lord's hands. Talk a little bit about that.
And that's what it was all about. We just put everything in God's hands, you know, because it was all about what could we do to make our church better, to make our community better, and most of all, to do the will of Jesus Christ. That's what it was all about.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, things started coming together, and before you know it, you know, we was like, okay, we would see one part being put on, and another part was being put on, and
Yeah.
the next thing you say, hey, we got a church here, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, for me and my family, it's always been awesome, you know. The fellowship, the love, the care that's at Estes Grove, you know, it extends beyond the walls of Estes Grove, and it goes
Yeah.
beyond the community. So we just try to do the will of Jesus Christ.
And I think it's really neat, Jimmy, that you've had generations of families that have led to other generations that have got.
Right.
You know, I often think about when you get to this big point when God opens up a new church facility for both of you.
Right.
And I'll stick with you, Jimmy, but. You know, folks, even in the early 1900s, you got to believe they'd be so proud of this generations
Exactly.
later. Would you agree?
Exactly, because there's a lot of family history, not only in my family, but in every family that's at Estes Grove.
Yeah.
There's a lot of families that was involved at Estes Grove.
Yeah, I would think so. Strickland, talk a little bit about that, the history
Yeah,
of families.
well, the history of the family, they have grown over the years. And it's kind of ironic you said that, because when I got there, I had no idea that my great granddaddy was buried in that graveyard, and
Really?
my great grandmother. You know,
Yeah.
and I went out there and we were walking the graveyard. I said, "Wait a minute, I know this name."
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't know that. So yeah, and so within our community, I would say that most of the families have loved ones out there in that graveyard there. We got a
Yeah.
very old graveyard, and
I would think it's probably one of the older ones in the counties.
Yeah, well,
Strickland,
yeah.
you would have to probably think.
yeah, you would think so. It had to be because, like I said, it was started sometime around 1891, 92,
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And that's when the first grave was put there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So a lot of history, a lot of, and that's again, Jimmy. I think about the history, the legacies that are happening, and talk about the congregation. I would think that everybody, as this decision was being made, was really excited. Talk about how that's been in the
Right,
last
and that's
two or
that's
three
been
years.
something that's been something for us because the closer that we got, it's like everybody was anticipating on one certain day, and of course, obviously everything depended on the weather.
Oh, absolutely.
It set in, and then so there's only a certain portion or a certain amount that the individuals could get done. But once we begin to see progress being made, it's like the more excited it's like kids at Christmas time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was like that there.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about the progress and how that's been. And Strickland, talk about your congregation right now, because I know with you guys are making this move, you're getting excited. But tell us, I do have to ask you before we wind down and take a break and head to a break in our second segment. Talk about where the current church. What's going to happen with that? With the bypass, will that church be removed, or how will it still stand, or do we know yet on that?
Well, right now it's still standing.
Yeah,
And we're going to assess what we need out of it, what we need, not what we,
Yeah, I
There's
got you.
a lot of history in the church.
That's what I was thinking about.
And
Yeah.
somebody's got to go through all those file cabinets and
I mean, that's probably some neat stuff in
yeah.
there.
So
And that'll
there
take
has
some time.
that had not been decided yet whether or not we would continue. Several people have asked us about it,
Yeah.
But right now,
So
we
that's
got-
pending.
Yeah, we got to maintain that graveyard, so that kind of limits what we can do with the building, So,
Sure.
So, but we sure that the Lord will show us a direction. and go
Absolutely.
ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's an exciting interview. Eskridge Grove Baptist Church, their new church home that they're slowly getting into. And we're going to talk more about it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, they've got a big event coming up just right around the corner. And then we're going to kind of talk about the new church and what's going to be a part of it, as opposed now that you've got more space, gentlemen. We'll talk about that. It's so great to have you along for Talk of the Town. We'll take this break, and we'll come back right after this.
Tune in to Senior Moments here on C19 TV. I am Jackie Sibley Newton with Terabella Assisted Living. Whether you are a senior planning for your own future or helping someone make decisions, Senior Moments has got information to share. We talk about the wealth of services, activities, and healthy living options available to you here in our area. That's Senior Moments on C19 and also on C19.tv.
Someone once said that without music, life would be a mistake. And that's how we feel here on Face the Music. Hi, I'm Summer Castle-Keever, and I'd love for you to join me each month on our new program, Face the Music, which airs on C19 TV and C19.tv. Each month, we'll highlight the talents, personalities, and stories behind some of the area's most gifted singers, songwriters, and musicians. It's going to be a lot of fun, so join me each month for a new edition of Face the Music right here on C19.
Take two. Now keep going. I don't know. Have one question.
Yes.
Are those crabs on your shirt?
They are.
I just noticed that a couple of minutes ago.
I was preparing
I've been
for our-
mesmerized
for our-
ever since.
Exactly. What the heck? What the,
Tim,
and
you
that
all right
is,
back there?
that's-
She gets into a soul cycle accident.
A soul cycle
Yes.
accident. Yeah.
What? Soul Cycle.
It's like an exercise class where they're all
Oh, no wonder I don't know what you're talking about.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town this week on C19 TV. Tim Foster with you, and great to have Reverend Strickland Maddox and Jimmy Hall of Eskridge Grove Baptist Church, and we are talking about their new church home. Gentlemen, welcome back to Talk of the Town.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Reverend Strickland, I want to talk to you a little bit about the new location.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about a kind of a big cookout event and a kickoff event you're going to have coming up on September 14th. But let's talk about the new location. If you've been by there, it's gorgeous. A lot more stuff. Talk about when you walk in now to the new, I'm talking about the new Eskridge Grove Baptist Church. What are you going to see, Reverend?
Well, we will walk in the foyer, and in there there will be a TV monitor up, and you can be able to watch the service from the foyer there. We'll have bathrooms on both sides, which is new for us.
Yes.
And that's truly a blessing. We are anticipating, the chairs and all those things that go with that foyer, and we hope that everybody will feel at home there.
Sure.
To be honest with you, COVID did take a toll on our membership as it has.
It did it to a lot of churches, yeah.
And but we are now seemingly, wouldn't you say, Jimmy, we're bouncing back?
Exactly.
Yeah, Jimmy talked a little bit about, seems like in a lot of places rebounding, and it's such a blessing to see.
And
that
it's
people are coming in person, I'm referring to.
Exactly, and it's always good when we can see the attendance rise, because as he said, COVID took its toll on a lot of things, a lot of services. But now, hopefully and praying that number will steadily increase now.
Yeah. Reverend, talk a little bit about parking now. You mentioned parking. It's been a challenge. It's going to be much better here, right?
Much better. In fact, we are now, the initial phase here, we hope to be able to park at least 75, 80 cars on the pavement.
Wow.
So I've been talking to the
So
folks.
we're going to stick to that, 75 to 80, right?
Yeah, somewhere
We're
in there.
coming from the right. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, we
something to that range, so that'd be great.
Yeah, and then we have room for all the parking we really need, ever need, and so
Yeah.
that will be one of the improvements that you'll see there. You'll see we'll have the TV monitors in the sanctuary and in various classrooms. We will have cameras, everywhere.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. It's going to be state of the art, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, that's what we're aiming
Yeah,
for, because we know it's not for us; it's for that next generation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so,
how long has the process been from when the initial construction phase started? How long have we been talking about here, Reverend? Are we talking? It's been a year and a half, 2 years.
About a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did the groundbreaking back in September of 22.
Okay, so about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's been about a 2 year, about what you expected,
Yeah.
though.
So well, we run into a snag there after the building went up and the pavement and stuff. We run into a snag, and so we had to go back and re-look at some things. And how building materials went up.
Tremendously.
And so we
sometimes hard to even get here.
Yeah,
right?
true. And so we went through that, and I guess we're still going through that, because it's kind of it's funny to me, in the 130 years or so that the church had been there, they had never had a mortgage.
Wow.
And so all of a sudden now,
all of a sudden you got a mortgage.
We got a mortgage,
Yes.
and so we're trying to learn how to deal with that. When you don't
Absolutely.
have a mortgage, you can be kind of independent and do what you want to do.
It's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
Most people don't know much about it,
Yeah.
but it is a good feeling
Yeah.
if you can get to that point.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy, you guys are going to be kind of kicking things off in September as you're moving in with a great event.
Right.
On Saturday, September 14th. Talk a little bit
Yes,
about
sir.
that event, Jimmy.
We have a big event that's coming up, as Tim just said, on Saturday, September the 14th. This event is open for the community. We want everybody to come out to this spectacular picnic. We're having it for the community. It's just our way of showing others the love that Jesus Christ wanted us to do, had commissioned for us to do for his people, for everybody. So we're inviting everybody to come out. Bring your family, bring your kids, grandma, papaws, everybody. Bring them out to Esther's Grove,
Yeah.
and we're going to have a huge cookout.
Starts at 10 a.m., right?
10 a.m., yes.
Yeah.
Saturday, September the 14th, 10 a.m. And who knows how long, maybe up to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No telling how long it's going to go.
Yeah, and remind a few folks, and one of you can answer this, that may not know, location of folks, obviously the location of the old and the new church are fairly close, but remind us, Reverend, if folks don't know where you guys are located.
Well, a mile to the south of the old church,
Yes,
and that will be 330 Washington Switch Road.
yeah, you just come right off 74, take that, if you're coming, obviously, if you're going westbound, you're taking that right. If you're going eastbound, you're turning left across 74, and once you get on Washington Switch, it's right there on the right.
You're right there. The picnic or the cookout will actually be in what we call our picnic area.
Okay,
And it will be a little bit to the north of where we are. Still our land, but we had to cut out the dog kennel place,
Oh, yeah, I know what
All
you're
right,
talking
so
about,
right beside it, we got what we call our picnic area.
Okay.
And it's shaded, and we got the picnic tables and stuff. So we're looking forward to a big group coming out,
gonna be
and
a
we're
great day.
we're gonna have games and stuff for the kids,
Yeah.
and just hopefully we'll have a good time. So.
It'll be a great day. And Jimmy, we were talking about it during our break. There's a lot of communities that are going to be going up and
Right.
building in Cleveland County. A lot of people have heard about that over the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years.
Exactly.
And there's going to be a lot of people looking for church homes. And,
That's right.
And I would think Estridge Grove is certainly going to be one of those with some of those locations. Talk a little bit about that. I think that's awesome.
And that is one thing we certainly invited each and everybody to come out. Everybody, and you don't necessarily have to be from Shelby. Everybody, you're invited to come to Estridge Grove. Join us for our Sunday morning worship service. Right now, we're getting started at 10:30.
Yeah.
We cordially invite you out. Sunday school gets started at 9:45 a.m. Sunday mornings. Please come out and fellowship and worship with us. But this spectacular occasion that's coming up Saturday, September the 14th, it's just going to be magnificent for the community. We certainly invite each and everybody that want to come out and fellowship with us to come on out.
Yeah, and I'm sure, Reverend, from your perspective, September, October, going to be exciting because you're going to get to preach those first messages. How are you feeling about that after 22 years?
Wow.
And the current, and now you current older Estridge Grove.
Well,
what's it feel like for you?
It's funny you said that because, every night when you're praying and you're thinking about what message should be the first message. Yeah.
That first one's got to be tough.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the good Lord's been throwing a lot of stuff in your brain, right?
Yeah, he has, and it changes, and but then you live life and you see the things that are going on in the world, and you don't want to omit anything that's current that people are thinking about, people are worrying about, and knowing that God is going to make a way for us, and what they see at 330 Washington Switch Road is God making a way for us, because
you can actually see it visually because it's happening.
Exactly. We are. Let me make sure we understand it. Now, the 14th we will have this cookout, right?
Absolutely.
All right, and the family day there. The 15th is actually our church anniversary. We're going to celebrate
Sunday, September 15th.
Yes, 15th.
Yes.
Yeah, that morning service. We will talk about the church, and we will have a dedication service for the new sanctuary and stuff. So we'll do that, and then that afternoon we will have at 3 o'clock. We will have Dr. Dean Brantley from Greenville, South Carolina, and his congregation will be up, and they will do our homecoming service for us, and so we're gonna have a full day that day, and we ask people, all over the county to come on out and let's celebrate what God has done. And if you don't know what God will do, you need to ask somebody, because we know what God will do. Amen.
Well, I think those 2 days will be a good time to visually watch it occur.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, come to Eskridge Grove those 2 days, because that's going to be 2 great days, Jimmy.
Tim, I asked him, we was in the sanctuary probably about 2 months ago, you know, as they were building in the new church. And he and I was sitting down, and I said, Reverend Maddox, what is your first sermon? Have you ever thought about what your first sermon going to be about in this new pulpit? And he just looked at me, he just smiled. He says, I just put it in God's hands. He's going to give me a good message. So that's what we're excited to see. I'm just curious to see what that first message is going to be all
folks
about.
need to come out on September 15th. They may get a little taste of that and beyond. But it is an exciting time. And I know you guys, I mean, before you know it, you'll be celebrating that first Christmas season this year.
Right.
And then heading into a new year. And I know it's been quite a journey for you, but it's exciting times, Reverend.
It is really exciting. It is.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jimmy, for families that are coming out there, and talk a little bit about, because me and you have had a conversation.
Right.
I know you've got a wide range. You've got your older generation, you've got your younger families. I know you love that part of Eskridge Grove as well.
Exactly. And see, one thing about what we're trying to do is we're trying to actually reach out to everybody, all ages. And of course, you know, in this new age now, the young people, we really want the young people to come, because that's what we're trying to say. Hey, we want to say maybe 10, 20, 30 years from now, when we're not here, you guys can carry the tradition on. So we want everybody to come out, from the youngest, no matter how old, how young you are, come to Eskridge Grove. No matter how old you are, come on.
That's right. Well, I think Bill's going to put the phone number and website on the screen, and there it is. If you've got any questions to talk to Reverend Maddox or Jimmy about the event on the 14th of September, the new church. And again, Reverend, we've got about a minute. I know you just invite folks to come now, right?
I invite everybody to come, and that does not, you know, I don't care what color you are. We are a integrated church now, so that's one of the changes you'll see over the last 90 years. So,
and I think that's awesome.
So we decided that we needed to look more like our community. And so we made an active effort to go into the various trailer parks and stuff and solicit members and solicit people to come.
We're so happy for you. We're praying for you. Congratulations on the new church.
Thank you so much, Tim.
And thank you both for being on Talk with the Town. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Bless
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And we want to remind you, story ideas. You see it on your screen there, info at c19.tv. That's how you can give us some ideas as we head into the fall season. A lot of great things happening around Cleveland County. It's a busy time, not only at Eskridge Grove Baptist Church, but all over Cleveland County. We'll see you next week on Talk of the Town right here on C19.
This is Grayson Pierce, head men's basketball coach at Cleveland Community College. You're watching C19 TV, Cleveland County's hometown channel.